To start with the discussion on the education system of India and the new education policy, we have Dr. Atul Patil, Director of School of Holistic Development, MIT ADT University. Dr. Atul, please let us know your views, your thoughts about the education system of India.
Yes, I personally feel very proud of our education system in India, not because it has produced many good role models in different disciplines or areas, but because it had shown the world a path to create winning personalities and live with harmony. I think that is the USP of our education system in India, wherein teachers, when they go to the classrooms, do not only ask students to open their books, but they make students open their minds. However, when we look at the other side of the coin, we also find that some of our learners have braid oriented approach when they go for any education, and therefore we need to change their mindset, and rather than having only a braid oriented approach in education, we should have life oriented approach in the field of education.
Okay, sir, do you think that the rigid divisions between science, commerce, and arts do they prevent the students to choose their favorite subjects?
You are right to some extent, yes, that is true. But now, with this new education policy in place, I think this gap which has been there in our education system will be breached with this new education policy, wherein they promote multidisciplinary education, liberal learning, and this will help us overcome this challenge, and students would be free to choose courses of their choice, and I'm really happy for this change that the new education policy is going to bring in our education system.
So, talking about the new education policy, the government has made such a big change after 1986. So, do you think that our foundation of our education system is so strong to bear this change?
See, when we wish to bring any change, we need to be little patient. uh, Once we have patience, I'm sure we will be able to bring this change, because only change is the constant thing.
Yes.
And if we want to progress in any field, change is an inevitable thing. And I'm sure with this new education policy, we might have some limitations, we might face challenges, but I always feel that challenges come with opportunities, and we have to look at opportunities more than the challenges which we are likely to face when we begin to implement the new education policy.
Yeah. So, regarding the new education policy, what other things or what other changes do you expect?
The new education policy is quite comprehensive, and it has taken into consideration views from different experts in the domain and the field of education. So I personally don't have anything to say when it comes to the new education policy, but like we promote at our university through the School of Holistic Development, that education should be able to help students have winning personalities, and also not only become job ready but also face the challenges in the world, and learn to live with harmony, brotherhood, peace, and that is what is the philosophy of our university. So I think with these things in place, if the new education policy is implemented all over the country with seriousness, and not only having the policy on paper, but rooting it through the ground reality, if that happens, I think that would be a good turning point in the field of education. And as we start implementing it, we might face certain difficulties, and maybe teachers like us can come up with some solutions there. But it is going to take time. It is going to take time for people to adapt to this new change. But I think with the rapid developments happening everywhere, people will adapt to this change through the new education policy.
Right. Okay, so what do you see the future of the education system which has gone online since
Mhm.
the since 1 year? So, what do you think? Is it good for
Hmm.
students and the education system or not?
Well, if you ask me personally, there are two sides again to this question. One, what was like a dream for many teachers and learners to learn or teach online a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
now is the new normal for everyone. So, I personally feel that this COVID 19 pandemic was like an opportunity in disguise for teachers and learners, because we have now learned how to teach as well as how to learn online. And of course there are certain limitations. We cannot have the same amount of effect or fruitfulness through online teaching, but it becomes a supplementary way of learning and adding on to your skills, because there are many advantages with online learning. Like all sessions are recorded and you can revisit, especially when we talk about slow learners. They have more advantage when it comes to online learning, in contrast with the traditional classroom learning. But traditional classroom learning is also equally important, because face to face connection, that connect is more effective than the online connect that we have through the camera. Like earlier it was very difficult to leave classroom, but today it is just a matter of one click from learner's point of view. So that connect, that attachment might be missing, but this is not what is going to be permanent. We are quite hopeful that we would get back to the normal situation that we were in, and we will be able to overcome with this unprecedented challenge that we have been facing. Some teachers also have fear that will technology replace teachers. So I don't think any technology can replace teachers, because the role of teachers is very important. But I feel that teachers who don't use technology might be replaced by teachers who do it. And therefore every teacher, every learner has to adapt to this change, get to learn new things, and then maybe we can have a blended learning and blended teaching approach, which will be a combination of traditional teaching as well as online teaching. And I think that would be the most effective way in the field of education.